we talked a little bit, Brian, before the last meeting. I did try to contact, Sarah's been very helpful, very polite as well. I appreciate that. She returns my calls. I did try to call Emily Shunk, no response, and same for Matt Leahy. Emily and Matt were both involved in the prosecution of a felony in Dane County Court, and I kind of went over that last time. I can't force them in any way to answer questions to my knowledge, but I wanted to offer my assistance if Brian, anybody wants to ask me questions about what I'm concerned about, I'm here for you. So just want to let you know. Any questions before I head out? Yes, sir.
I wasn't here last time. Could you just give me a little brief summary?
I'm sorry, I'm John.
I'm Jim Wheeler.
Jim, pleasure to meet you. I was at a clinic, a group health cooperative, on April Fool's Day, 2016, almost 10 years ago. And my doctor, we went back and forth about a dermatology issue, and finally she goes, I think what we're looking at is colon cancer. And I took it pretty well, and that recording is in the hands of Matt, Fitchburg Police. Matt, I didn't know it was a joke when my doctor did that to me. I didn't find out for like 8 weeks. I had a professional listen to it. And she said, that's not funny. And I said, what are you talking about? And I was completely ignorant. Well, I was really upset by that. Here in Fitchburg, of all places, the doctor here, she retired on that date and moved down to Birmingham, Alabama. Her name is Dr. Tock, T-O-C-K. And that left me in a tough situation. It's like group health cooperative kept on saying, well, she retired, we can't help you. And I said, well, I have ADD. I mean, I recorded it. I didn't even know it was a joke. Conveyed that audio recording device to the CEO of Group Health Cooperative. His name is Mark Huth, and he gave bomb testimony 3 years later to Jill Karofsky. And I looked at her and I said, you know, even before the hearing started, can I have a lawyer, please? And so I tape recorded that as well against her wishes. And it's just been amazing. I think that's probably the most dangerous thing I ever did, where I spoke up and I said, hey, wait a minute. I recorded it and I was trying to help myself because I just sensed that things weren't going right and there was something off. And then Fitchburg Police got involved with Matt Leahy. He started stalking me in like March of 2017 because I was being very adamant. It's like, hey, you guys are now withholding care. You're preventing me from getting care elsewhere. They started calling Fitchburg Police. It's just a really long story. And what has happened is the evidence that Matt has access to or had access to contradicts court testimony. And it's pretty, I guess the word is prima facie. It's just sad. I'm not doing this for myself. That's one thing I want to make sure people know. It's like I've given up my health. I went to prison. You know, they gave me a 3.5-year sentence. I saw the system and what was happening. It's like, my God, you know, what are they doing to people that aren't being careful? What are they doing with people, you know, if you have somebody who's being dishonest and they're a law enforcement, you better be really careful. And my thought is just the opposite. If you're a cop, I'm gonna hold you to a higher standard. And I can't get a hold of Chad Brecklin. I can't get a hold of Matt Leahy, anybody. Well, they have a right to not speak. Well, the people of Fitchburg have a right to know what goes on in this town. If they want to gaslight me, go ahead and gaslight me. I'm used to that. So I've done time up and they just made my life a living hell. But anytime anybody wants to ask me any questions, I'm here. Sarah's got my contact info. I'll keep updating you, but I don't really think I'm going to get any cooperation from Fitchburg if it's the police department. So I'll probably continue to get threats, stalking, whatnot. It's like, there's nothing I can do. So you guys, again, please, I'm here for you if you need me, and appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, have a good night.
Okay, next item on the agenda, item number 5, report from the fire department, 5A staffing report.
All right, I'll start right out with responses. A little bit more next year. a little bit more than the last month. Ending up for the year in 2025, we just had just under a 1% increase. Unfortunately, those percentages up there are a little off. But again, I think a lot of what we're seeing is we've made a really good effort on reducing false alarms, fire alarms. So we're seeing higher responses in different areas and less alarms is what we're really seeing. So we're doing good though. So total calls aren't up that much. As far as overtime, we're up, and we did have a few mandates in December. But hopefully with us bringing on the extra staff, we can really reduce that, and we should be finishing that up by the latest, like mid-February or so. And that's the BCs and POX firefighters. Another highlight, doing really good on response times, even with growth and construction traffic as well.
Okay, any questions for the chief? No questions, we will move to 5B, closed session. I will make the motion to move us into closed session. Pursuant to section 19.85, subsection 1, subsection C, Wisconsin statutes, the commission will move into closed session for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. More specifically, to make a conditional offer from the career firefighter eligibility list and to make conditional offers for the position of fire science resident intern.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Any questions? All agree we should move it in closed session? Say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're in closed session.
All right, just
out of closed session. Are there any items to take action on discussed in closed session?
Yeah, I make a motion to authorize the chief to make conditional offers to 3 individuals he named for the 2026 intern positions.
Second.
It's been properly moved to second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay? All right, motion passes. Congratulations, Chief, on the 3 new
Thank you.
interns. Is there any other action to take?
Yes, motion to make an offer for career firefighter to Brock Buskager.
Second.
It's been properly moved to second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay? All right, motion carries.
Thanks, everybody.
Again, congratulations.
Thank you, Chief.
Next item on the agenda, item 6A, is the staffing report from the police department.
Hello, everyone. We are currently 4 vacancies short of our authorized strength. We do have 1 in the academy, so that brings us with 6 unfilled positions. What's good to know about that is we have 2 candidates, one that should be finishing up with the background and starting a police academy in March, and another one that's going to be starting at the end of May after graduating from technical college where she's getting her associates. So that'll be 2 additional officers. That'll bring us down to a vacancy of 2. In doing that, we are going to continue our recruitment. We have one coming up in February, so that should hopefully get us the bodies we need to get to full strength. We also have our December monthly report. This kind of reflects the end of the year. We did have a homicide that occurred 2 days before Christmas. We average about, I call it 1.5 homicides a year. We average anywhere from 1 to 2 a year. We ended up with 2 last year, but it's not a deep reflection of the work that was done throughout the city and our crime for the last 2 years where we've been trending down. I'll start with the normal stuff that we talk about. However, department handled 947 citizen-generated calls for service. Officers initiated 735 of those. Compared to the prior month of November, it increased by 32. Officer-initiated calls increased by 80. Compared to last December, we decreased, so we had more calls that were citizen-generated in 2024. Officer-initiated calls did drop considerably, and that was due to a couple of officers that we have working other assignments, and one that's off on personal leave. Property crimes, we did have a spike in burglaries. Good notification is that those suspects are in custody. What's important, we ended up giving commendations to 2 of the officers that apprehended the suspects. When it comes to property crimes like burglary, when you catch one of them, they're not good for 1. They're usually good for double-digit number amounts. So when we really pay attention to those type of incidents, to try to get as much information as early as possible, because they will drive the numbers in our overall crime if we don't pay attention to it. So that occurred throughout the month of December, but the good news is that they're in custody. As you look at the gun violence, there was 1 report of a shooting that I mentioned, that was a homicide. We do have a good grasp of it. We do know all actors involved, and there's currently 1 in custody in Chicago that we're waiting to, there's charges issued on our end. So as soon as Chicago's done, we're gonna be looking at extraditing that person or that individual up to Wisconsin. No robberies reported, and as reported, as far as domestic violence, we had 16 domestic violent calls for service for the month of December. As we move on over to the chart, this one, you can see where we're in the green. The red was the homicides that I spoke about earlier. We are up in sexual assault, and you may hear us discuss a little bit about the sexual assault investigations in our annual report, which will come out in February. As far as the other numbers, I'm very proud to discuss some of the initiatives that we had going. They started about 3 years ago. We really had them up and running for the last 2 years. In the last 2 years, certain crimes have been trending down, like aggravated assaults, domestic violence, and gun-related violence, which is indicated here for shots fired. We did have a domestic violence unit that we created a few years back. They are now up and running, doing very, very well. And if you can see our numbers, their creativity and what they've been doing is plays a big role in not only the domestic violence number, where we're down 25%, but it also adds to the overall aggravated assaults. That brings us down to almost 50%, 49% there. The other piece that added to the aggravated assaults is the shots fired, the gun-related violence. Since I got here 4 years ago, we networked with both the district attorney and the U.S. Attorney's Office to focus on gun violence. We are the leaders on addressing gun violence. You can say they're reactive, but we put a big deep dive into the gun-related offenses and work with the district attorney's office to bring in everyone around that account, holding everybody accountable when it relates to gun crime and violence, from the sellers to the purchasers to the ones that actually commit the crimes with them. So it's not just making one arrest, we end up making several arrests and holding people accountable. So that type of attention has played a big role. Now, what's not on this chart, and we're gonna try to bring it up in conversations with the mayor, is that Fitchburg was trending to one of the top 5 cities in the state of Wisconsin per capita as most violent. So we're talking about connecting it per capita. Now, we don't have a lot of gun violence and crime compared to Milwaukee, Racine, Green Bay, or Beloit, but per capita, we are equal to those cities. What has transpired in the last 2 years is we're getting ourselves off of that chart. We're now getting down to the double digits. So instead of being in the top, I think 5 or 7, we're now trending to pass like 13 or more in the state. So we're trending in the right direction, and that information will be explained in more detail through our annual report. And I'm proud of those numbers. I come in and I talk about staffing issues, but it doesn't mean that our staff that's there now isn't doing their job. From our investigations to our patrol to the leadership that really pays attention to the violent offenses that occur in Fitchburg, we try to keep them to a minimum when it's our role or when we get involved in them. Any questions?
Chief, with the officer-initiated calls, are there any other things besides traffic monitoring and traffic stops that the officers are basically, doing proactive work on? I mean, I know you mentioned the domestic violence, but is there other things that also?
I would love to say that we do, proactive wise, but we don't. The officer-initiated calls for service also are parking walks.
Okay.
So in the summer, if we do have enough staffing to get our officers out on bicycles or to walk parks, that's been a topic of conversation. You can ask the mayor about that, but we do that. And when they're out there, we don't just want them to walk around and show visibility, but engage in conversation with people. And that's different. When I say engage, some people think we're stopping people and patting down. No, it's just engaging in conversation and doing that community service that they want to see officers do. So when we do have them available, we will have them out in the neighborhoods, whether it's some of the more problematic neighborhoods where our crime numbers are being driven, or a walk in the park.
So are you saying you're gonna try to capture that? I mean, I just think that's important to show also with the traffic stops, as far as a service that you're providing to the city as far as community policing.
For our annual report?
No, well, just, like if an officer's doing it, maybe a case number and, basically showing that you guys are out there and, actually communicating with the public also.
Absolutely. They have to put themselves out so that it is counted in proactive activity. So, when you see the officer-generated calls for service, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a traffic stop, it could be a park and walk. Or, you know, the officers that are out on their bicycles when they're engaging, they do put themselves out, which is part of that number.
Chief, can you talk a little bit about the citizen-generated call, 9% improvement year over year? I mean, certainly the calls are down, but is there, if you dig a little bit deeper into the data, what are the type of calls you're not seeing perhaps as much as you used to?
I haven't looked, taken a deep dive at what's driving the numbers down, but I think if our numbers that I indicated, the aggravated assaults are down, some of those calls that are repeated, and actually I can talk a little bit about it, but it's gonna be anecdotal, is if we're paying attention and focusing on the repeat caller. What is the repeat caller? The repeat caller is gonna be one where you have their frequency in domestic violence. If we're now proactively addressing that using other resources that we have, or addressing the repeat offender, those calls are gonna drop in that area. Also, the mental health calls. We do have now a full-time social worker. That social worker that we have, it focuses on the repeat calls for service, and we also refer. So when we get that repeat call for service to that person that is suffering from mental health issues, it's a troubled subject call, and we identify that there's mental health issues, the follow-up will then be for our social worker to respond and see if we can do something proactively there. So that, our part-time social worker has been with us for the last 3 years. This is her first year that she'll be full-time. But yes, I can tell you that we do review our repeat calls for service, and most often they're gonna be on calls like domestic violence, the mental health related calls, and on top of that, then you also get your drug dealing complaints or things of that nature. And we do address those too with a deeper dive or a deeper plan once we identify what the problem is. And hence, the result is a drop in calls for service.
Any other questions for Chief? Okay, I will move us into item 6B, closed session. Pursuant to section 19.85, subsection 1, subsection C, Wisconsin statute, the commission will move into closed session for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation of any employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, more specifically to remove the probationary status of a police officer. All in favor of moving to closed session? No second. All in favor? Aye. All right, we're in closed session. In open session, are there any actions to be taken based on items discussed in closed session?
I make a motion to accept the recommendation of the chief to remove the probationary status of Officer Malinowski.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Congratulations, Chief. Your office is off probation.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is number 7, announcements. Any announcements?
The police facility is moving according to schedule. There's several different stages of concrete that'll be going up between January and February. Hoping by the end of February, we should have that first floor completed and start working on the iron work for the secondary level.
Great news. Any other announcements? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 8, adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Just a little added note that on Sunday, January 18th, it was Sarah's birthday.
Oh.
Important news.
Okay.